So,
Hey, my name is Jasper, not even a rapper, only on this track to make my racks grow faster.
I didn't know that was your side occupation.
Have you heard that song?
I have not.
I'm gonna send you. It's a song by a rap group. You know Frank Ocean
Yeah,
and Tyler, the Creator?
of course.
They have this group together. They were a group together called Odd Future, or actually
Okay, that sounds familiar.
Odd Future Wolfgang Killed Them All was the full name of the band
Mm.
of the group. And there's this guy called Jasper. I think he's a manager or something like that. And they made made a track called Oldie, and then everyone joins in. So like all of them are like rapping along. Even Jasper, who doesn't even actually rap, joins in just to add to his stacks.
Got you.
How are you doing, man?
Nice. I'm very good. Like very, very good actually. How about
Mm.
yourself?
Also very good, man. Had some fears coming up. I have this doll because I'm living here in right outside Oslo now for 2 weeks because
Mhm.
I'm moving to Bali in the 1st of February, and I'm living in this house.
Nice.
I'm renting Airbnb, and there's this doll up here, man. This doll, and it's like this scary doll, from the movies kind of thing.
Hmm.
And when I'm going to bed, it's dark, and I look up, I'm like, if she's not there now, I'm gonna be freaked out. And I've just been going through that fear tonight, like just the mind creating stuff. And then this morning was also some stuff, and I overcame it. So now I also feel great. So it was a great challenge, life
Hmm.
giving me a challenge, opportunity to grow, and I took it, and feeling good. Yeah.
Where do you think that came from?
I've had it for a while. Like when it's dark, like completely dark, and it's silent, and I'm with myself, like I will it's this fear, man. I've had this nightmares where I'll be sitting and I'll be waiting for something scary to happen, and I'm trying to make that scary thing happen, but nothing's happening.
Hmm.
And I'm realizing that this fear is nothing but an illusion. It's nothing but nothing. There's nothing there. And I feel like that's something trying to teach me. It's something that saying to me, okay, this fear it's not real. Relax into it.
Hmm. Yeah, that's the way, right? It's like you
It's
just like you force yourself into it, and then it disappears out of itself.
Yeah, man. Yeah, exactly. Have you ever had any fears lately that you or any dreams that's been weird or nightmares or something like that where you've had some insights or realizations?
Mm. I want to say yes and give this like great example, but not really. I've just been in such a good headspace lately to where, yeah, doing a lot of like personal growth, lots of personal like reading about this type of stuff. But it's also like the fear is the thing that I've worked on very extensively for the past 3 years, I think, because that was like one of my first mentors when I got into personal growth and coaching was someone who was very big on three main things. So it's becoming fearless, taking ownership, and going all in on what you believe in. So these were like kind of the core pillars of what he taught me. And so I already spent like so much time on dealing with fears and kind of understanding, okay, what are the fears that are underlying? To some extent, they still happen, but yeah, not nearly as much. I used to have such huge problems with like status. So if I would meet with someone who to me had like a way higher level of kind of yeah status and just being than me, like from my perspective or perception, I would basically be stifled. I would not be able to hold a conversation. It would be horrible. Um, Literally 2 weeks ago, I met with like I was in Thailand, right, traveling around, and I literally met with probably one of the most successful people in that country, like very, very successful, and just chilled there, had a great conversation, connected on many levels, and just 2 years ago wouldn't have been able to. I remember I went because I just started coaching and coaching entrepreneurs. Went to this dinner with this entrepreneur who was quite successful, like 100 people working for him, like flew his like has a hobby of like flying airplanes, this type of. They
Mm.
already know that these people are like quite ballers, and just had so much difficulty having a conversation where I didn't even, especially when he asked me what I did, it was basically like like ah. That's basically how I went. Um, but
Ah,
yeah,
it
working
is
on that is huge.
it was this guy that you met, this entrepreneur now, and it went
Hmm.
well, or it went like
Which one?
this
The
entrepreneur.
recent one.
Yeah.
Another one, great. Yeah, just really connected like
Ah, okay. This was an
very well.
guy from before.
Yeah, so the one I was mentioning was 2 years ago.
Oh, okay. I
First
see.
time I like started traveling, and
Yeah.
basically right after, like 2 months after I decided I would make this online coaching thing happen.
Hmm.
Yeah, then I had that situation. I was just like, I'm never going to be doing this again. Obviously, it didn't automatically go away. It's just repetition, but it's crazy to think about.
It's crazy. And do you think that you could have helped that guy at that time?
That's a good question. I wouldn't. There's a good chance I could have, but because of the behavior, like right, like my kind of my being and how I was thinking of the situation, I had no chance to even figure that out, I would say.
Was it fitness at that time?
No, so it was already like performance coaching, so it would be
Okay.
combination of fitness and mindset related stuff.
Okay.
Basically, what this first mentor taught me.
So so basically you could have helped him skill wise.
Mhm.
It's just that you were putting obstacles in your own way.
It is so interesting to where, yeah, for the longest time, and I've helped a lot of people around being fearless to some extent, being taking ownership, going all in on what they wanted, and
Mm.
um, but even as that like happens, you still go through like so many limiting beliefs yourself, and there's so much fear within you at the same time, to where you're just like you're on the exact same path.
Mm.
And it's only pretty recently I would say that I think kind of obviously not transcended. There's still fears to some extent that I have. There's still things that I'm growing in, but I've gotten to a point where I'm now like very comfortable with myself and with coaching and with these types of things. It's been
Mm.
interesting.
Would you say that comfortableness is not you not feeling discomfortable? Is it more like you still feeling the discomfort at times and the tension at times, but being comfortable with the discomfort and the tensions?
Yeah, totally. I would say that.
It's not like you're walking around like in ecstasy. You're like you still feel like, but you're like still do it.
Uh-huh. It's mainly the reframe of coming from a place of servitude.
Mm.
There's a few, especially around coaching, like there's a few mindsets that I've held. Like first one, do you know Michael New?
No.
He's a very, very accomplished coach, and he has his book called Super Coach, and he talks about the lamppost frame, or I'm not sure how he specifically calls it, but basically, yeah, the lamppost, the idea of the lamppost.
Mm.
And he says that for any human to just talk to a lamppost, that would already be extremely valuable. To take aside the time weekly to just sit in kind of in silence, to look at how life is going, to just talk to a lamppost. That would be very conducive to a person's personal growth. And so, as a coach, if you can even add a little bit more than the lamppost can, that is already so valuable. And you don't
Mm.
even have to do that to be valuable. So it
Yeah.
removes a lot of tension around, wanting to kind of push people to a certain outcome, or,
Mm.
placing that much value on yourself. Because the other thing is, it is totally not about you. And this is pretty much any profession, right? Like with any business, it's not about you in the first place. It's about serving the other person. It's about adding more value. And anytime you think from a frame of, oh, I need to do this, or I need to prove myself, or I need to, show that I'm a good coach or whatever, the thing is, it is always coming from a place of lack. So I already, immediately always try to block that out. Obviously,
Mm,
it doesn't always go completely how I want it to, but yeah, those things have definitely made a big, big difference.
mm, hmm. That's a beautiful way of looking at even the interaction with someone, because you're coming from a place of presence, coming
Mm.
from a place of let's find out. And that's such a beautiful adventure because you're not there with a strict agenda. You're there more with a an intention.
Mhm.
And then how that happens is more open depending on the person you're interacting with. That's key. I found in coaching. I used to, prepare the whole thing for the whole session, like everything we would do. And then one session I was running late and I just said, you know what, I'm just gonna show up. And it was the best session we ever had together.
Mhm.
I just showed up. After that, I just, you know what? I might have a few pointers or some things that we talked about throughout the week that I want to share with him or that we were going to talk about. But apart from that, let's see what happens. Let's see where he's at. Let's see what he needs right now.
For sure. Like the stripping away of things. Like whenever you try to put layers on top of things, I've found this in general to be true. Like doesn't matter with it's pretty universally applicable. When you try to put layers on top of things, like you kind of mess things up. Same with my coaching. I used to try to package things up and like, oh, I need to become an expert in. Now I kind of have this skill set, but I used to be like, oh, I need to learn more in health because I can't just do this like coaching, playing with people, their mind and how they see the world and growing in that way. I had to add all of this fluff to it. Where now this stuff is valuable, but it's
Mm.
if you look at a lot of things, it's actually just stripping away and going more to what's actually at the core.
Yeah, I have this exercise I do with my students, and it's an exercise where they're deliberately trying to fuck up.
Hmm.
So I tell them go to go to a girl or go to multiple girls and grab their attention.
And
Then just stay silent and just see what happens. And trying to fuck it up. Trying to like my mind is now telling you, yeah, it's weird, right? It's fucking. I'm trying to fuck it up in a way, and
Mhm.
the more I just relax, then you relax and we start meditating. It's like
Aha.
it's it's if you meet a conscious human being at that time, you're gonna connect to such a deep level so fast. If you don't, she was not there. She was not for you anyways, bro.
Hmm.
You know?
That's some powerful stuff. I love that.
Yeah. So yeah, I um I love that we just went right into it. That we just started talking, and it was like this last time as well, Jasper, when we talked. It was like we should just meet, talk, and record it and make a podcast. We don't
Mhm.
have to have any.
No agenda.
Yeah,
Topics.
we just meet and we just talk. And because let's introduce it a bit ourselves a bit
Mhm.
because we'll put it out somewhere so that people can hang out and learn and be with us.
Mhm.
So what for first of all, what is the podcast called? What did we agree on?
I think we agreed. Well, I'm not sure what we agreed on, but something with being at least.
That's the primary. And we were both high achievers. We both love to wake up every squeeze every single juice, drop of juice out of the day, work out while listening to something. And we love being productive. But at the same time, we know that we need to enjoy the process, the journey. So productive being, enjoying becoming better. So the intention is always to be and then to see what happens with the destination in mind, intention in mind.
That is literally with just to drag you out of the introduction type thing. With what I've found recently is, if you just focus on the end state, you just live in the end state. You get clear on, right, like with life, for example, like you get clear on where you want to go. You just live from there. You act from there. Your being is from there. Your being is already in that place. You stop looking at time as like this, this thing of like, oh, we're working towards the future. We need to run there and stuff. And it's just we accept that we're already in that state. Just things happen effortlessly.
Wow. Yeah, man.
So, anyways, back to your point. I guess we should like properly introduce what we do and this stuff. No?
Yeah. Okay. Okay, I'll go. I'll start by saying that, yeah, my name is Edin, and I am at this time a 29-year-old man, currently in Oslo, going to Bali for 2 months in 10 days. And what am I doing? Well, I'm helping men at the moment to be able to say and do exactly what they desire. And then I'm focusing on the dating aspect, the intimacy aspect. Because these last 10 years, I've been going from being a virgin. I was a virgin from 19. And I went through high school, nothing happened, and I felt unsuccessful. And my friends were kind of laughing at me like, you never had sex before? And I'm like, no. And yeah, it sucked. I had some dates with my dream girl at the time, and I couldn't. We're sitting on the couch, nothing happened. I went home, I'm like, fucking shit, why did this happen? And I was even going to bed and making stories up in my mind of how it actually would happen. I wished it to happen. So I loved that at the time, but what I realized, what I was actually doing, I was denying the now. I was denying the moment by saying I wish it was different. So when I started to go on my journey of my personal development journey, there was always two aspects that was super important. And the first one, of course, it was girls. It was being able to meet my girl and ask her out, kiss her, and escalate things with her. Be able to do that. Be brave enough to do that. Say and do exactly what I wanted to happen. And then it was the meditation, the spiritual aspect, because I realized that I really wanted to feel good. And I also acknowledged that my high achiever mindset, which is never satisfied, this is something I realized recently, is to accept that. Not try to change it. Just allow it to say, this was not good enough, this could be better. But also have that energy of, it's fine. You're enough. You're good. Yes, it can be better. Of course. And reframing it. And that's the mindset part. That's like the Holy Trinity, And for me, it's like the mindset, the girls, and the spirituality. So that's how I ended up where I am now. And I started for myself last year, quit my job, didn't tell my family. When I did, they were like, what the fuck did you do? Didn't make money the first months. And now it's picking up momentum. And I know where I'm going. So I'm living more and more from the state that you just explained, which is in the end state and living from there. I'm getting more and more used to it, and it's beautiful. So yeah, just challenging myself, living every day, and being more and more happy about who I actually am at the time. Because when I am in that state, then anything is possible. I'm not rushing anywhere. I don't have to do anything, but I want to, and I do it. And when I have that combination, magic.
Powerful one.
Yes, yes.
Kept thinking when you were talking, there's this quote that came up with, "What you resist, it persists." Right? It's like if
Mhm.
you try to get away from something, it only pushes like harder on you. It's
Yes,
when you like accept it and you're calm through it. It's kind of goes back to the illusion kind of thing.
there is a Norwegian rapper. He said this line, it blew my mind. He said it in Norwegian, but I'll try to translate it to
Hmm.
English. He said, "You have to go through breaks to break through."
Hmm.
So it doesn't make total sense in English, but what it means is that you have to go through the thing to go through it. There's only the only
Kind of
way.
the obstacle is the way. So,
Exactly. You have to face this doll. I have to like look at it in the dark and be, here I am.
did you
Move.
get like a? I would get a ladder and just like stand in front of it.
There is actually a ladder here, and I feel some goosebumps. So I know what I'm doing tonight. You have to. This is the right side of us. On the left side, it's okay. The right side is take action, and that's why we can enjoy. We can relax. That's the confidence.
Mhm, for sure.
So how
I'm
about
very
you?
curious why you. Is this the first time you're going to Bali?
Yes, it is.
I have a friend out there right now, so I should like connect you with him. And
Oh,
there might be some other friends that will be there as well, so maybe you should like connect
wow.
with some of them. But
Wow.
I was in Thailand from the 1st until the 14th, 15th, so I just got back.
Hmm.
Phenomenal, like actually phenomenal. Like obviously a lot of people they say that Bali is also very good. Might have to go to Bali,
You're still
but
white. Is it? Wasn't it sun?
I have I'm not sure if you can see this, but like there is quite a difference.
Yeah,
My
yeah.
whip is covering it up.
Nice man.
Definitely not browning. Um,
Hey. Now, was it just for pleasure, or did you have some business?
all my friends are out there, and I wasn't planning to go. I was planning to just stay in hustle mode here, be focused, whatever. 30th, I just thought this is stupid. It's cold here. I hate it here. I've been wanting to go to Asia, like since I have consciousness, like since I can remember, I've been wanting to go to Asia. I've
Okay.
never gone. My friends are all there. I was like, okay, fuck it, booking my flight
Yeah.
on the 31st, like during New Year's Eve. I was just like on the plane, woke up on the kind of like yeah, in Bangkok on the first, and yeah,
Wow,
been phenomenal.
man, how was
Um,
that? How was that first time in Asia, 1st of January? It's
yeah,
first New
fresh
Year.
decision
Yes. How was
was
that? This
was
decision.
crazy. Um, I was, as I booked my flight, or right before I booked my flight, I was talking with another friend of mine who is, very successful, ambitious guy, and he was saying as well something that really hit me, where sometimes you get these kind of visions, or you get these ideas, and you know in your heart, like your soul is telling you, you need to take this step. If you don't take that step, you affirm to the universe that you're not worthy of that step.
Mm,
So whenever you get this kind of insight, you get this kind of pull towards something, you have to take that leap because otherwise you're going to affirm to the universe you're not worthy of it and you're dragging yourself down. And there is a reason for that because I have not loved a country like that ever. I will say I haven't like traveled probably for my age a good amount, but it's not like I've seen that many countries, probably like 15 or something. Um, but yeah, that place really did something to me where the Buddhist culture, people don't have a lot there, but they are so happy and kind, and it's like stealing and stuff. Like from what I heard, like theft is a thing there, but from what I heard from the people who actually live there, theft is totally not a thing there. Like people don't really steal, and I felt very peaceful walking across the street. If you go to a lot of countries, I think as a foreigner, you kind of, especially if you're tall and like, like good looking, whatever, like I feel like you get a lot of hate. In Thailand, I feel like, yeah, I could just, also with the guys and whatever, like I could really kind of connect very well with everyone there.
Mm.
Felt very at home right out of the jump. So I was in Bangkok for 3 nights, meeting some of my friends. One of my best friends, his friends there, because he lived there for many years. That was crazy.
Hmm. How long did
Uh,
they live there?
I think like probably, so my friend moved there like almost a decade ago.
Oh wow.
But he moved to Georgia, which is where we met like I think
Okay.
3 years ago. And so his friends, yeah, they were just still there. And some of them came a little bit later, but yeah, probably all of them around like over 5 years at this point.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Do Thai boxing.
yeah, they all do that,
Yeah.
which is yeah. I'm going to move there in March.
Oh, you're
That
moving there.
is that is what I'm doing. Yeah, I
Wow, it's
love it.
so
The
cute.
Thai boxing is phenomenal.
Mm,
Yeah, the culture, the people, everything. It's such a free country as well, right? Like it's kind of messed up, but it's like if you just have enough money, it doesn't have to be a lot of money. You can just pay yourself out of any situation. It is that might be, I don't know like how people feel about that, but for me it just, yeah, it feels very free. Well, I'm from the Netherlands where everything is parking ticket, like tickets for this, like everyone's on your head all the time. There's so many rules. It's just very
mm,
annoying. There
mm.
it's you don't have a motorcycle driving license. I'm not sure what we can do about this. And you're like, maybe I pay you 500 baht, like $10, and you're back on the road. Kind of can keep going. Just a
Uh,
funny world.
it's a difference. It's I wouldn't say it's necessarily better or worse because these rules kind of bring a type of safety. You know,
Hmm.
um, at the same time, what are you safe from if you live in safety all the time? Are you really living? So
Hmm.
it's like interesting when you look at the world as one place instead of this and that. There's just polarities, different.
For
Uh,
sure. It's also the culture that enables that, right? It's like
mm, yeah,
people are there in a certain way, and they are very free and chill and peaceful to where, yeah, this type of thing kind of works, I would say.
that's epic, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're moving to Bangkok.
Yeah, so I spent time in Bangkok, Chiang Mai, and Koh Samui, um, because my friends have a villa in Koh Samui. My friend that I was mainly traveling with, he lived in Chiang Mai for 6 years. That is
Mm,
beautiful as well, like the mountains and everything,
mm,
a bit more quiet, but I really love the super busy hecticness of Bangkok. Also for my brand, I think it makes more sense, but yeah,
mm,
just, and the people there, I don't know, I very much enjoy that city.
mm. And you're working online, so you can work
Yeah,
from
doesn't matter where I do that.
anywhere you want.
Yeah, just
Uh,
with client calls, it's a little bit of a difficulty where I might have to do like later, calls later in the day, early in the morning, kind of make that work in that way.
yeah,
That is all good.
you're gonna create your structure out of that. So
Exactly.
it's gonna work. It's gonna work well. So I'm curious, how did you start your journey? Because we didn't really talk
Mhm.
about that ever.
Okay. Not sure where how far I should take this. Let's go to the very beginning.
Hmm.
Okay, so I'm Jasper, 24 years old right now. Grew up in a pretty hectic environment. My parents divorced when I was 2 years old. I moved around like 8 times. By the time I was eight, I moved to Switzerland when I was four. Uh, just had a lot of turbulence early on, and this also made me like a very turbulent person. Like if I look at conversations with my grandma, where I ended up living most of my life from the age of eight, like they would say like I was so turbulent and kind of mad from within and had so much like anger built up that I really had to release.
Mm.
And parts of reasons for that was like in Switzerland, I wasn't really accepted. I felt very much like an outcast. In Germany, they call the Netherlands Holland, and hol means stupid. So I would be coming from stupid land basically, and that would be these type of things where
What was the name?
was that?
What did you call them? Ho.
No, they said they called me because I'm from Holland.
Ah.
Holland. Hol means stupid. So they would
Oh.
basically call me stupid because I was from a stupid country, things like that. So I just didn't really have a lot of people I would connect with. My stepfather there was abusive. My mother, she was like in psychiatric clinics for weeks on end sometimes. I would basically be alone because
Wow.
my stepfather wouldn't, when my mom wasn't there, like he was actually quite nice. So it was kind of worked out nicely, but I would basically just not talk with him and I would basically be alone for, weeks at like age 7,
Wow.
6. It's kind of crazy, but in many ways that shaped me, right? It's very thankful for that. It's
Mm.
actually crazy. Like on the plane when I was flying, I think back to Bangkok from Koh Samui. So it was like a week ago. I started writing. I don't really do the gratitude journaling, but I know how powerful it is. I'm always in a state of gratitude, so I don't really need to be doing the journaling at this point. But
Mm.
I started writing. I was like, hey, what am I thankful for? And I just started writing on this page, empty page, started writing, and I was like, kind of stopped at one point, after, some people that I was thankful for, some of the situations that I was thankful for the position of my life that I was in, like the health that I have, how much I've grown, all this stuff. And then I wrote more and more and more, got more specific, and eventually I was thinking, okay, I'm thankful for, the abuse that I've gone through. I'm grateful for, all the turbulent times I've gone through. I've gone, all of this stuff that you kind of repel at one point. I was kind of accepting it and I was thankful for, okay, wow, has helped me create the life that I have today.
Mm.
Um, anyways, back to my story. So when I finally got to the Netherlands, I was very turbulent, busy in my head. I had like ADD. I had like migraine attacks a lot because of how busy I was in my head. I
Mm.
literally had like headaches because of that.
Mm.
And so it took a lot of like with a psychologist, doing a lot of work in that way, um, to
At
kind
an
of
early
start to
age.
work through that. Was it?
At an early age.
Yeah, I think I kept having these problems for like a few years, and then when I was like 12, I started going to like psychologists,
Wow. Okay.
and it was diagnosed with ADD and all this stuff.
Mm. How was that, man? Being 12 and already be going and talking to a therapist. How was that?
It was probably 13, by the way, so just to be
Mm.
accurate. Um, I don't really remember, to be honest. Here's the crazy thing, like when I was 13, I started smoking weed. So
Okay.
I was like, that kind of helped in some ways, right? Because it makes you more introspective.
Yeah.
But obviously at that age, very damaging for your brain and
Mm.
very not good in many ways.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I don't really remember. I do remember that my brain got a lot clearer. I was able to go through and stop having these headaches. But even if you look at like one of my big problems with kind of dealing through or going through this kind of trauma is that I don't remember a lot of things. Like I only have a few memories from that like span of 4 years,
Mm-hmm.
which
Mm.
kind of that makes it difficult to work through things if you have no recollection, right? But it's still there on a subconscious level.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a different approach you have to take with your processing, I suppose.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, yeah, started doing that, so that helped. I did like, the ADD pills for some time, but it just made me feel slow, and so I got off of that. But basically, from the age of 12 to 17, my life consisted of video games, like, up to 100 hours a week, like literally from the moment I got up until the time I went to bed, playing video games. Um,
Mm.
yeah, abusing weed, abusing video games themselves, abusing like pornography was a very big problem. Like
Mm.
at that age,
Yeah.
made me very insecure. Obviously, made it very difficult to talk to women. You kind of see women in a certain way
Mm.
because of that.
Mm. Yeah.
Um, and also
Yeah.
just hung around like bad influences. So like people that if you look back now, like a lot of them they started like living in like campings and stuff because they got kicked out of their houses and started like dealing drugs and got addicted to alcohol and all this stuff. And some have recovered and they're doing quite well now. But just a lot of kind of very many things that were not conducive for a productive life, let's say.
Okay. It was a very,
Um,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. A lot of things, a lot of opportunities for growth.
for sure. And that was kind of the blessing as well. Like if you the big upside that I got from all of this was that it allowed me to be like mature faster. I
Mm.
was already very independent, right? Like from well, if you're alone for weeks at age 6, like right, you have to kind of care for yourself. You have to go to school alone. You have to. I think that's pretty young for kids to be doing that. Like go to school alone, ride your bicycle alone, like just prepare everything by yourself, get your homework done by yourself, like everything, make your food by yourself,
Wow.
all of it. So it had a
Wow.
big upside and it allowed me to kind of mature faster to where I kind of understood, like, okay, um, I could see the world differently from a younger age, I think.
Mm. Yeah. It kind of, yeah. Yeah. It's that blessing I can talk about.
Yeah, totally.
Mm.
Um, and so the big shift happened when I was 16. Um, I kept being very insecure about my body. I was very, very scrawny. I was like so weak I couldn't bench press the bar, like just very. I had a lot of back problems as well from just, right, sitting all day behind your computer. It's not very good for your health,
Mm.
especially if you have zero muscle to support that. And just was fed up with that. Like wanted to get some confidence, wanted to be confident with myself, wanted to get a girlfriend, wanting to be able to stand up to some people who were in my life who were kind of friends, but they also were kind of bullying me for my body.
Mm.
Um, and yeah, I started going to the gym. One of my best friends, he was already going to the gym. He was already decently built, and I just started going with him. And it was so crazy to me because I was already ambitious. Like I always had ambition. And in video games, I played a lot of video games at a quite high level. Like I was never, I don't think I had the talent for it. Like I was never that good, but I was definitely, playing one smaller game. I was like one of the best in like Counter-Strike and League of Legends. All these games, I was not super high level, but like for people that actually know these types of games, like Supreme,
Diamond.
Master, Global, whatever it is, like right
Diamond
under, yeah, basically these types of levels, right?
or
So.
challenger. Diamond.
No, no,
High
like high platinum actually.
platinum.
Diamond in like I think some obscure like TFT if you know that. Some
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
random stuff.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
doesn't really matter, right? It's
It's
all
good.
memory at this point.
Yeah. It's a high achiever. It's not not like your life, but it's a high achiever. Like you're not there just to have fun.
Exactly.
You also
Like
want to.
yeah, why do things for fun kind of. That has always been a mindset of
It's already fun.
by winning. It's fun.
Yes, it is. If I'm not winning, then why am I doing it?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
Um
Or at least
this
getting
what is it?
or at least getting better.
Yeah, yeah, progressing in some way at least.
Mhm.
So that was kind of crazy with going to the gym I already went to the gym before that, but because my diet wasn't on point, my training wasn't on point, I was just like messing around sometime when I was 13, 14. I didn't
Mm.
get any results and then I quit. This time I, had someone, my friend already understood a bunch of things, so I could kind of go off of this. And back in that day, right, it's like, I mean, 8 years ago at this point, fitness is completely different, dude. It's like very different world because back in the day it was bodybuilding forums. You would have to go to bodybuilding forums to get any information on
Mm.
training. So
Mm.
you would have to be in these like obscure places where a bunch of like jacked up, steroids users give their training programs, and then you kind of copy all of that and all of the crap around protein shakes and all of
Oh,
this stuff that I totally do not believe in anymore. That sadly a
yeah,
lot of people still believe in.
yeah.
The random, have your multivitamin and they'll fix everything for you kind of
Mm,
approach. It's not really what I believe in anymore. But
mm,
yeah, back in the day, it's good enough to get going. And that was such a big switch because I always I got decent results in video games by playing video games. I've never done anything in my life where I was deliberate, and then by being deliberate and creating inputs, causes right in their place, get the outcome and see improvement. And that kind of got me hooked because I was like, okay, holy shit, you can tell me I can go to the gym, I can eat, a certain amount of calories and protein, and I can build muscle. Like there is a real change in the real world that I can create that I have control over. And I always thought that, I tell this a lot, but I always thought that I was in a pinball machine. Like I used to think that I would just bounce all over the place. Life is just matter of chance, matter of luck, right? You just do what everyone else says. You just kind of try to find your lane and you stick to the lane, and then eventually maybe you're going to turn out okay. That's my
mm,
idea of life. And this was kind of the first seed of, holy shit, we're not a pinball machine. Like I can create what I want. And so yeah, I don't know. Was like a subtle thing right at the time, but that is everything, I think. Because if you can start to see that, okay, I can start to change my life, and I can from there, right, I can create anything I want in my life. Then you'll start to put the pieces in place.
mm,
I always say with like if you need to deal with like procrastination, a lot of these issues that people have with a lack of discipline, lack of focus. You have the vision, like you know where you're going, you're super clear on where you're going, you have a desire to get there, like you actually want it. That's like the first step because a lot of people they don't have a big vision. They just think, oh, if I can get like a 10% raise next year, I can get into like a apartment with like maybe like 4 stoves instead of two, and like like a
mm,
I don't know, like 5 extra square meters or 1 extra bedroom or whatever. Then I'll be happy, right?
mm,
It's kind of like this stuff is not going to drive you. It's not going to help you do anything.
mm,
Doesn't
mm,
fuel you.
mm,
So if you have a big vision that you want to work towards, and it is backed by a big cause, or because that's the other thing, the amount of value you provide, the amount of value you give to the world, in return is kind of the amount of wealth that you're going to create, the amount of value that you create, that you get in your life. If you just
mm.
have a big vision, you fuel people, their lives, you fuel their ability to create a better life. You're going to have a good life.
100%. By you being on your purpose or your mission or following your journey, from an energetic perspective, your state is great. You're
For sure.
feeling great. You're being courageous. You're making actions that you wouldn't have made if you were not on this mission. So by you being on that mission, you're not only going the steps for yourself, you're fueling everyone around you. And how are you doing that? Well, you are being the person you want to be. You're being the person that you are. Because it's a two-way street. It's you acting from that vision, and it's you letting go of resistance to the moment. That interception of you being in that, coming from that state of already being who you want to become, and then letting go of being perfect. That means just, yeah, it's gonna be awkward, it's gonna be weird, it's gonna be uncomfortable, and then being okay with that. You're being
Mhm.
authentic in the moment. And that's where you can have those funny quirks. That's when your story is perfect for you because you're no longer resisting what happened. You're now seeing it as a blessing. And that's why you are Jasper 23, who are already a successful online coach who's now traveling to Thailand to live there because that's his dream, you know. And other people have different things, because they're now allowing themselves to be a little bit more authentic.
Mhm.
Now we can talk about two people meeting and really resonating on one level, and another level being like, oh, this guy's interesting. He's different. He's just being himself, but he's different.
Sure.
And yeah, that's that beauty of being on a mission while also enjoying the whole thing.
For sure. Yeah, the acceptance of the journey kind of.
Yeah, of yeah, it's okay with not being perfect, because if I'm now, for example, having doubtful thoughts and feeling that I'm not as great as I was a moment ago, then who's gonna tell me that that's not the actual perfect way to be right now? Maybe
Mm.
people are watching and be like, oh, this guy's too perfect. And now he's a little bit unsure of himself. I resonate. For example,
That's true.
also when meeting a girl, I figured out by experience that if I was too smooth, she wouldn't trust me. You
Mm.
say this to all the girls. And even if I have the perfect line, it's still a line. She's like, yeah. But if I can come up, I'm like, hey, you're very cute. Like, you're making me nervous, but look at you. I have to come here. What's your name? And I'm genuinely interested. Then there's more to connect with.
Mhm.
There's the human side. And she's like, wow, that's cute and courageous. Wow, okay.
For
And
sure.
I feel like that's a antidote to a lot of things. If you're playing a football game, for example, you're not playing to your best. You can be like, okay, should I say that I'm shit, or should I just be like, okay, right now I'm playing the way that I am. Maybe I will play another way. Maybe my stamina is not perfect today. Okay, maybe if I think a little more where to stay, and then 5 minutes later you score a goal because you're in the perfect
Mhm.
position. You're like, okay, maybe this is my way now. It's like it's this letting go of resistance to change.
For
And
sure.
change is uncomfortable. And that's what you said initially, Jasper, which was that you are feeling so great because you are allowing change to happen. You're still feeling discomfort and whatever, but you're not
Mm.
resisting it. And what you resist persists. So the faster you are able to accept it and go into that, and live from that, and then new stuff can
Yeah,
happen.
for sure.
Then new stuff will happen again after that.
Totally. There's very much a thing about accepting. Like you accept that, okay, for example, like something that I found very powerful, especially early on, is there's no reason that if the last 10 minutes, for example, of a conversation went absolutely horrible, that like the next 10 minutes of that conversation can't be the most powerful, like the most impactful like conversation of your life.
Exactly. And
And when you stop that expectation, right, like you're able to kind of step out of that. And also the other thing is oftentimes like it doesn't really matter. Like first of all, what is the worst thing that can happen? Like if you have anxiety, you're not gonna die,
mm,
right? Like easy reframe. Worst case, it doesn't really matter. In a lot of
mm,
situations, if you mess things up, you're still going to get a second chance. It
mm,
rarely does something really matter that much that you have to be anxious about it. And then the general reframe, right, is like, it's good that you care. It's good that you have this stress. It means that you care about the situation. It means that if you're meeting someone, it means that you care about meeting this person.
mm,
It means that you are in a position where you're able to grow. It's all negative, like a positive, and that's positive.
mm. Yeah. And it's it's all positive because you're showing that you care, and it's also like we talked about earlier about when approaching a coaching session, coming in it with an open mind, with presence, and seeing what arises. And even this has happened to me before. I've had something happen. I would say this was absolutely garbage. I would look back at it and be like, okay, this is actually pretty good. Wow, this and that. I said that. Whoa. Oh, that's powerful. I'm pretty. And then I've had sessions years ago when I used to smoke weed. I would say freestyle a rap and record it with some friends. But this is fucking amazing.
Hmm.
That bar was. Well, and the next day you listen to it, you're like, not really.
Yeah.
So it goes both ways, and it's that expectation that's so powerful because by letting go of the expectation. Okay, this is a fun thing that I also teach my students, which is a lot of guys are needy, or they're acting needy. I would rather say they're acting needy. And then acting needy. Why are you acting needy? Well, the reason you're acting needy is because you are very much outcome dependent. If that's happening, yes. If that's not happening, whoa. So how can you then remove neediness once and for all? And this is a very simple thing, but it's not easy. It takes time because you have a mind and the mind has conditions that needs to be rewired, unless you're Eckhart Tolle and things just transform in a moment. So you start to let go of the outcome. You start to, for example, go on a date, approach a girl, even go into a sales call without any expectations of what's going to happen. You still have an intention. So you tell yourself, this is going to go how it's going to go. Let's find out. I think it's going to go really great. I think it's going to be amazing. And I'm prepping myself for it to go amazing. At the same time, I'm letting go of the outcome. And then what happens will happen. And then you're not needy. She pulls away. You say, okay, interesting. She comes in close. You're like, interesting.
Okay.
It's a very important point.
For sure. But the understanding. I feel like a lot of problems are just created on like the lower level of consciousness, right? Like where if you're just able to go up and up. I'm so happy I always skip like the pickup kind of community because it's always like do this thing, then do this thing, then you're gonna have this other situation.
Mm,
I never did any of that.
mm,
Just by leveling up yourself, by having abundance mindset, you fix everything
exactly.
because it doesn't matter, right? Like there's so many options in any realm. In like, it doesn't matter whether that's finance, doesn't matter whether that's with women, whether that's with relationships, with literally anything. Like there is so much abundance out there, and if the current like thing is not going to pan out, first of all, if you don't have that kind of you have the abundance mindset, it's probably going to pan out in the first place. That's even the other thing, right? Like if you just accept it and you step into that's why the future state, like living in the end state, is so powerful, I think, because you're kind of already accepting. What I very much recently learned is, for example, in terms of setting goals, I used to always think, oh, I want to create X amount of money this year, and I want to do, have specific targets for this year and for the end of the month, and like hit these numbers and do whatever.
Mm,
Nowadays, I just think, I am now a multimillionaire. I am now a billionaire. Like I am already in that state. And because
mm,
I'm already in that state, it's already existed. And
mm,
because right, like if you think about it, if we are in the now, this is all there is for us. Like the now is all there is, all there ever will be. If you think about the future, start to visualize about the future, like this is great, but this is all we can see. But that doesn't mean that like our soul is the only thing that is like, right, that our soul is only in this present moment in time. In that sense, time is kind of an illusion. If we can kind of step outside of that and we just think, okay, I'm already working on this. I'm already progressing. I am in abundance. I am only thinking positive thoughts. I totally stopped like even entertaining limiting thoughts at this point, or doubt or whatever, because it's if you look at the totally rambling here, but if you look at, for example, the Bible, right? Like if you look at how Jesus created miracles, if you and pretty much any type of miracle, how a miracle happens is there is a complete unity of certainty of it happening, complete like belief in it happening, complete like focus of thought. Everything is just focused on it is happening, right? And if you can create that for yourself and that same level of belief, it's going to happen. Another interesting thing is, which is why I stopped, kind of changed my goals in this way. Whenever a disciple asked Jesus about anything, about like when something would be happening, he wouldn't say, 3 months or whatever. He would say soon, and that is he always says soon, and that is a very
Wow.
kind of exact same type of thinking. It's just
Mm.
because if you think about it, like if you set a goal for in the next 3 years, what like that is your expectation of how long it's going to take.
Yeah.
What does it say? Like, why can't you achieve this in the next month?
Mm.
And by extending it 3 years, you're not going to put in the actions that actually create the outcome that allow you to get to the thing in the next month. Like you're stopping yourself from achieving it
Limiting yourself, exactly. Stopping
based on your
yourself.
expectations.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. That's an interesting content to write about. It's like the reason why you're not like setting goals is ruining your like goal setting is why you're failing.
Hmm.
Something like that. Yeah.
I made a video about this yesterday, but yeah, I did not start it this smart. I did something like, yeah, here's why setting deadlines and stuff is stupid.
That's amazing. And that's also why structuring a session is stupid.
Hmm.
You're just coming in. I'm coming in with service. I'm here to help. I will bring my highest and deepest self to guide and help this person towards their ideal.
For
And
sure.
here I am.
You put less in the way, and you're able to kind of connect to the source easier because you're not like, oh, A to Z kind of planning. It's just you let
Yeah.
things come to you as they are. You create from the moment. You live your purpose. Everything just happens.
Here
It's
we
magic.
are. Here we are. And I feel like that's a great ending to this first episode. It's 101
For sure.
in Norway. It's like 101, like everything aligned in terms of the first episode 101. And we're
Mhm.
also making a full circle from what we talked about
For
initially.
sure.
So this was a pleasure of talking with you. I always feel inspired after talking with you, man. And
Same here.
I am I'm very excited to see if any other people get inspired as much as I do talking with you, because you are a master in terms of mindset and in terms of being on your mission, because it's so obvious to me that you are working towards something while enjoying it, and nothing can stop you. And I really believe that nothing can stop you, man.
I
So
appreciate that very much.
I'm very happy to
I believe the same way about you.
have met